Me is looking counterfeit. I get done with one and move right on to another bitch. Yeah. Uh, college educated, she graduated.
What is going on, guys? It is Matt with the FF Mediators, and I am joined by Coach. We've got Tyler on the way. We are here with First Read Fantasy doing our first trade review show. We are really excited to be here. We've got a bunch of trades, so we appreciate everyone who sent us some trades to review. If you're here in the comments, let us know, ask us your questions, and of course, send us your trades so we can break them down. Coach, how you doing, my friend?
Man, I am great. I'm ready to roll. I'm excited to do this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so too. I mean, trade talk is some of our favorite things that we actually get to do. Really excited to see what everyone thinks. Again, I appreciate everyone who submitted their trades. So appreciate if you're here. Be sure to throw us a like, subscribe to First Read Fantasy, and we're going to get straight to it. And we'll start with our first trade here. Coach, let me get this pulled up on the screen and we will go through it. And you can kind of walk us through what your thoughts are. Our first trade is Roma Dunze. So we're kicking off with a bear. We've got Roma Dunze and Xavier Worthy for Zach Ertz and Nico Collins. 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR, and this is a tight end premium league. So we need to remember that. Zach Ertz, yes, is going to be an older tight end, but he offers some immediate fantasy value. Nico Collins, can that offense bounce back? Coach, my initial question to you is which side you got?
Man, I really think if you need some extra depth, Rome and Xavier are nice, but to me, Nico's clearly the best player. Give me Nico Collins right there.
Yeah, and I think this is a good opportunity for us to talk about how when we're doing these trades or evaluating these trades, oftentimes we start with who's the best player in the deal. And of course, here I'm going to agree with you, Coach. Nico Collins is simply the best player in the deal. He's a top 10 wide receiver for most of us. I think we can go back and forth on what we want to do with Roma Dunze and Xavier Worthy. I think they're both top 20 dynasty wide receivers, somewhere in that range. But it's certainly a tier down. In my opinion, I want the firepower of Nico Collins. I think Nico is the best player in the deal, like you said, Coach. So I would absolutely take him. And if I'm tight end needy, then that Zach Ertz start for this upcoming season is going to be pretty nice.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to mention is we're not always going to have context with some of these deals. Some of these were tweeted to us, some of them were sent to us in our DMs, and we don't necessarily always have context. Rome is an interesting player in this deal. Like, a lot of people are afraid to say the fact that Caleb Williams might not be very good. Like, we don't really know. I'm a big Bears fan, to be honest. I'm a little hesitant with Caleb Williams, and that makes me pump the brakes on Roma Dunze just a little bit. But I feel really confident in Nico Collins. If he stays healthy, that he's going to be fantastic. So that seems like the more safer bet. That's why I'm giving Nico Collins all day.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it too, Coach. It's the safe bet. Nico's an established player. We can certainly talk about his health, but Rome is still a question mark. I did hear Pete earlier talking a little bit about Xavier Worthy on his show with Player Profiler, and I have to agree with something he said there, where Worthy is kind of the big play, more gadget kind of guy that's going to stretch the field. I don't think he's someone who's going to command a high volume of targets and get a ton of catches and a bunch of yards. I think it's going to be reliant on those boom bust weeks, and frankly, that's someone I'm not very interested in. If I want a Chiefs pass catcher, it's Rashee Rice for me. So I'm selling Worthy if I can, because I think people are a little bit higher on him than me personally. But I think Nico Collins is the best player. He's going to provide the most fantasy stability. And if I had to ask you, Coach, which one of these players could finish as a top 3 wide receiver at the end of the season, I think there's only one answer.
Yeah, there's only one answer, Nico. This time last year I was high on Xavier Worthy coming in as a rookie. He came out with a bang, had a great start for the Chiefs, and then as the year went on, it became more obvious that he was more of a gadget guy. And I think, like you said, Rashee Rice is going to steal a lot of targets there. Nico Collins is clearly the best receiver. All this hinges on what happens with Rome Odunze. I mean, you could look back on this years and say, Rome was the best player in the deal, but right now he is not. So give me Nico Collins.
Certainly agree. We want to give a shout out to Jamie. He says, "What's up, guys? Nothing much, man. We're talking some trades. So if you got one for us, be sure to submit it." He also asks, "Is this a start 8 or start 11?" We don't know all the details. A lot of these are just trades that were sent to us, so we're evaluating just simply based on the players involved and the format if it's told. So there's certainly context that we don't necessarily have that could absolutely change our viewpoint. But generally speaking, we'll give you our best advice that we can. Pete says, "What's up? What's up, Pete? We appreciate you being in here, my friend." And Jamie does add too, Coach, that if it's a start 11, he wants both those wide receivers. I mean, in deeper leagues, I get it. But if I need the star and I need some star power for my lineup, and maybe one of those guys is on my bench, I'm taking Nico.
Yeah, well, yeah, it seems pretty obvious to me. I come with you there. Like, I understand what Jamie's saying about 2 for 1. Like, I do understand that, but we can't act like Zach Ertz is nothing. You know, if you're trying to win, Zach Ertz may be a tight end for you that helps you put you over the top as well.
Yeah. Pete also agrees with us, Coach. He says he's taking the Nico side. Real quick before we move on, because it's another bear, I think we have to talk about it, Coach. Roschon Johnson being moved here for Dylan Sampson and Gadsden. What's your thoughts on this deal?
Man, I do like Roschon. Like, to me, he is a cheap buy. But when I say cheap buy, I'm not sure Dylan Sampson and Gadsden are that. You know what I mean? Like, that's essentially 2/3 in a sense for Roschon Johnson. I like the hype I'm seeing with Gadsden. I think I would have held Dylan Sampson and Gadsden if I was that guy. So I think this is a good move for you, Jamie.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I like Gadsden a lot. He's someone we talked about in the offseason. I certainly could see this being the deal that comes back to bite you, though. I mean, there's a world where, Gadsden isn't the guy we think he is, and this is all just kind of hopium coming from OTA reports. And then Dylan Sampson, what he is, I don't know, but Roschon Johnson has a path to immediate fantasy relevance. So I could see this being that deal that comes back and gets you. He has 9 shares of Roschon in other leagues. So yeah, I think you're covered if that happens. That's a lot of shares of Roschon, so I'm not going to blame you there. Cronster says, "What's up, fellas?" So we appreciate you being here, Chris. But Coach, are you ready to jump to our next trade?
Yep, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. Well, this trade here, Coach, is going to be Brandon Ayuk and a 2026 third-round pick for Michael Pittman and Brian Robinson. So not exactly the sexiest trade in the world, if you ask me. But in my opinion, Coach, I think I'm going to go with Brandon Ayuk here. I mean, this is a 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR tight end premium again. Knowing that dart throw the third, you and I both love that for different reasons. But Pittman is just kind of someone I'm kind of out on as a whole. Brian Robinson could be someone that provides some stable production, maybe as a low-end RB2, but more likely than not an RB3. Where Brandon Ayuk, I think, is probably the best player in the deal. So I think I'll go with Brandon Ayuk here.
Yeah, I'm going the other way. Like, I'm going
Okay.
with I like Brian Robinson. I'm shocked that you don't like Brian Robinson still at this point, but I'm going Brian Robinson and Michael Pittman. I realize doesn't have a quarterback. Like, we would feel very different about Michael Pittman right now if someone else was his quarterback. And I do think if let's just say Daniel Jones, for instance, wins that job, then he becomes a little more relevant. And then in the next couple of years becomes more relevant. Michael Pittman is a better player than he has shown. Which we could say the same thing about Brandon Ayuk. So right now, I would definitely take a third. I would definitely take Brian Robinson for a third. So I'm on the Brian Robinson, Michael Pittman side.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm with you. If Daniel Jones plays the entire season, then immediately Michael Pittman is a better fantasy asset. The target competition for me is a little bit scary, just given the fact that Pittman's going to compete with Josh Downs, who I do like. And then on top of that, you've got Adonai Mitchell. Maybe he makes progress going forward. Alec Pierce is still there, who runs all those go routes, gets all those air yards. They added Tyler Warren. You still have Jonathan Taylor. And then not to mention, you've got Anthony Richardson lurking in the back, who might step up and command this job. If something happens to the Colts where maybe they start 2-3 with Daniel Jones, people are going to be screaming for Anthony Richardson to come in and step. I mean, he was drafted, 3rd overall a few years ago. So in my opinion, I just have some concerns about what really to expect with this Colts offense. I hate to make a bet on Brandon Ayuk. He's not someone I'm necessarily buying, but just given the fact that he's done it before, I feel safer with him than I do with anyone else in the deal.
Yeah, and this Colts offense has some weapons at wide receiver if they had someone that could get them the ball. There's a lot of Adnave Mitchell hype coming out too. People think he's a lot better than he showed last year as well. But it does all hinge on the quarterback. There's no doubt. So I understand the scary side of both things here, but I like Michael Pittman. I really, really like Brian Robinson. Like I just think when it's all said and done, Brian Robinson's still going to be the guy for the Commanders.
And you're not wrong there, Coach. I think that's very possible. I mean, obviously they've got Eckler there, who is an aging running back, but provides stability. We saw his role last year. He played a lot of third downs. He spelled Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson is just consistent. He is what he is. He's good at falling forward, getting some solid yards, running through tackles. Not necessarily going to break any or have any breakaway speed or big plays like that, but he's just consistent. My fear with the Washington backfield, and we've talked about this many times, is what happens with Corey Krosky-Merritt. And I know I'm the guy that's talking about the 7th round pick, but I just think that there's a real shot he has to gain not only opportunities, but earn the backfield. I mean, he's looked good in training camp, and I get it's OTAs, but the team has raved about him. And I just can't look past that. So he's someone that I think is kind of that dark horse to take the job.
Yeah, and OTAs, we do get a lot carried away with OTAs. OTAs is not training camp. Right, like people need to keep that in mind. Like it is not the same. Like he's looked good, and there's a lot of hype on a lot of people right now. So we got to pump the brakes on all that a little bit. But Ayuk could bounce back and be a stud here. Like that's the scary part with him. Like me and you just traded for him not long ago, and then moved him immediately. Like he's a scary player.
I was actually about to mention the fact that, man, we made that move to go get him, and then immediately you're like, we should move off of him. So, I mean, I get it.
Well, you definitely did that.
Well, let's catch up on the chat here. So we, again, appreciate everyone's in here. We've got a bunch more trades to go through. So if you're in here, throw your trades in the comments. Ask us your fantasy questions. We are more than happy to answer those. Albert's here, Coach. He says, what's up, fellas? Albert, we appreciate you being here, buddy.
Albert.
Let's get to Jamie's. He says Pittman is also going to be fully healthy this season, and Ayuk isn't. It's a good point. I mean, Ayuk does have the health concerns. We didn't necessarily hit on that too much, but it kind of goes to the factor of why we're saying he's scary. But I'm glad you mentioned that, Jamie. I think it's important to clarify that. Tip says, yo, Coach. Long time no see, Tip. Thanks for jumping in, letting us know you're here. If you got any questions for us,
what's up, Tip? What's up, man? Yeah, it has been a while.
We've got a question here from First Read. I don't know who's behind the scenes asking us this question, Coach, but it says, if Kirk Cousins is traded to the Colts, would you be excited to own the Acorns pass catcher? I mean, I think that if Kirk found his way in Indianapolis, it would be very confusing. I'm sure Tyler would be pulling his hair out. But, is he better than Daniel Jones? I don't know. What do you think, Coach?
I would rather have Kirk Cousins, honestly. Like I would feel a lot better if it was Kirk Cousins. Daniel Jones, it's interesting. Everybody thinks, well, he might end up being okay right now after he was just atrocious, and everybody spent the last 2 years bashing him. That's how some of that's just proof of how bad Anthony Richardson is. Ultimately when it comes to throwing the football. So true. I like Kirk Cousins better. If that happened, I would feel better about everything in Indianapolis, to be honest.
And, we pick on Kirk a lot with the primetime games and then last season too. We also forget he was injured. Like his shoulder was visibly hurt. So you could kind of see the fall off on him. And when he got a little bit healthier midway through the year, he played okay. Like, do you remember that Monday night game where they came back and won? I think against Tampa. He played fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Dang right. He was throwing that thing everywhere that night. He threw it like 50 times. Well, he threw 500 yards or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was 500 yards. So I think Kirk can do it. It's just a matter of if he's healthy. Maybe Indy's a good landing spot if he did end up there. I know this is all hypothetical, but at the end of the day, I think we both agree that Anthony Richardson is the main reason we're avoiding these Colts pass catchers. If Daniel Jones, for some reason, does start, it's just a little bit better, but there's still some question marks and some scary thoughts that you might have.
No doubt. All
right. Well, Coach Paul has a question for us. He traded Kamara in a 2025 late second for a 2026 mid first. My question to you, Coach, is: are you okay with this trade? What's your thoughts here on Alvin Kamara and a late second for a first?
I mean, I like that. Especially if you're rebuilding, I really like that. Give me the mid first. Like without a doubt, to me, Paul. If you're rebuilding, I'm all about that. If you're trying to win it right now, then I'm hanging on to Kamara because I think he could have a really solid season. If you're in the middle of a rebuild, I'd do this in a second.
Totally agree. Alvin Kamara, he's almost 30 years old, so it's about time to move off of him, especially if you're a rebuilding team. So great move by you, Paul. You add in that late second, and you're netting a first next year. That pick's going to accrue in value. If something happens to that manager, maybe they have an injury, maybe they make another poor trade, that just helps you, and that trade or that first just shoots up in value, and it can be a little bit closer to being that 101. So I love this move for you as a rebuilding team. Great job there, Paul. Let's get to Jamie Scott here. He traded away Khalil Herbert to the Taylor owner for the 407 and drafted Trevor Etienne. So Khalil Herbert to the Jonathan Taylor owner for the 407. He drafted Trevor Etienne. I mean, I think it's just your dealer's choice of who would you rather have. I mean, I guess give me Trevor Etienne. Coach, or any disagreement there?
No. I mean, if you're hunting a handcuff, I might take the Khalil Herbert, but if I was the other owner, I would rather have Trevor Etienne. I mean, I'd rather have that dart throw. We know Herbert's not real good at this point.
Exactly agree. Me and you are the same way. We want those late round running backs. Just take as many shots as we can get. Last one here, Coach, and then we'll get back to our next trade. So if you're in here, keep the questions coming. We'll keep coming back to them. Pete says he could see a world where we're going to make fun of him because he said he could see a world where that coaching staff is in the hot seat and they bring in Cousins if Jones stinks in camp and AR is not playing. He obviously was hurt after that Broncos game. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, this coaching staff is on the hot seat. Like, make no mistake, they need to find a way to produce. I mean, Steichen's got to get it done now.
Yeah, and it's a solid football team. Like, it really is. Like, if they have an average quarterback, if they had some quarterback that just played okay all season long, they'd be fighting for a playoff spot and maybe make the playoffs. So I would totally understand that. I mean, I see that same world, Pete.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's just jump to our next trade here, Coach. This one is going to be a quarterback trade. We've got Josh Dobbs, which is the clear most important player in this deal, and Drake May with Bucky Irving in a 2027 second round pick for Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. in a 2026 second round pick. Coach, I think this comes down to what you view these quarterbacks as. In my opinion, Drake May is a top 10 dynasty quarterback. I know a lot of people aren't going to necessarily agree with that. And Kyler Murray is a little bit further down the list. I think I have him at 17, maybe in my rankings. I'm much rather have Bucky Irving and Drake May in this situation. Marvin Harrison is certainly a guy that can improve his stock and get better going forward. But just right now, I think that Bucky provides more stability, has an immediate upgrade at the running back room here. We don't know all the league settings here, so we can't provide too much context. And then the 2027 second round pick, I guess that's good. I don't really care too much about that. I'm just focused on the main assets.
Yeah, I like Bucky Irving. I know you do too. Oddly enough, Josh Dobbs is slightly important to this deal because it could be the Drake May handcuff, so to speak, right? So there is that, I guess. But give me the young guys. We know what Kyler Murray is. I've never been gigantic on Marvin Harrison. We all know that. I think he's a solid, nice wide receiver. I just do not think he's ever going to be a top 10 wide receiver. But I do think Bucky Irving's a top 10 back right now, easily. So give me Bucky Irving and the Drake May side of that.
Yeah, I just think you're gaining so much value with Drake May. I mean, Kyler Murray has been a multiple years in a row of can he put it together, and it just simply hasn't happened. I mean, he's a good quarterback for fantasy. He gets hurt a lot, and then at times he just disappears. Then you add in the fact that his size sometimes hampers him, where he gets a lot of passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. He can't necessarily find his targets. I mean, he's had plenty of playmakers, and it just kind of hasn't really matured to anything thus far. So I have my concerns with what could happen in Arizona. I mean, he's another guy that I think's on the hot seat. He got paid. He's making a ton of money, and he simply hasn't produced to this point. That coaching staff, same thing. I mean, they got to get it together. And I hate to say it, but Marv, as much as he was touted, I do think he's a little bit limited in how high he can go. I think a lot of people just thought, oh, he's going to step in and be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver. And not to shame the fact that, he's in that top 15 range, which is great, but it is different. It's just not to the level of what we think or what some people think.
Well, another thing to take into account here is the stack.
Mm-hmm.
Does that matter to you? How much does that matter to you? If Tyler was here, he'd be going off on this and how important this stack is.
I'm not going to disagree there, Coach. I think the stack argument is something that it's really varies player to player, manager to manager. In my opinion, I don't care about the stack unless it's an elite stack. I mean, if you're telling me I'm going to have Burrow and Jamar Chase, heck yeah, I want that stack. Burrow's going to throw for possibly 40 touchdowns. Jamar Chase is going to catch possibly 15 to 20 of those things if it's a boom year. So I want that opportunity. But, at the same time, if we're talking about Kyler Murray, let's just pull up his stats here, Coach, right now. I mean, 21 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns, 24 touchdowns, 26 touchdowns, 20 touchdowns. It's not enough really to move the needle, in my opinion, to say, oh, that's an elite stack. I need to go and get that. Now, could he have a 30 touchdown season? He could, but thus far, he hasn't proven to do that. So I don't think the stack's going to necessarily impact your lineup that much.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The stacks scare me in general, honestly. I would rather just stay the heck away from stacks more than anything else. For the most part, they just really, really scare me. There's a lot of risk there. That way, if they both have a bad day or they place a defense that's awesome, then things go bad in a hurry. So I tend to stay away from them personally.
Yeah. Well, let's get caught up on the chat here, Coach. He says, Cronster says he traded away Hurts, Genty, and Jawan Jennings and a 2027 second-round pick for Allen, Hampton, Shakir, and Trey Harris. My word, this is a big deal with a lot.
Wait. First of all, Cronster is full of crap. He traded away Genty. I do not believe that. Not for a second. I know this guy too well to know he traded away Genty. I'm not buying this.
Well, I think it's important to say he has a rule. He won't have more than 2 Raiders on his team. He said that before.
Oh, it's true.
If I'm not mistaken,
right.
this is the team that he has Brock Bowers and Jack Besh, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that's what he said.
And he is a big Hampton believer.
He is a Hampton believer.
Yes.
I mean, I think we can obviously agree that Josh Allen is the best player in the deal. So we'll start there. What's the drop off from Allen to Hurts? It's noticeable. It's not necessarily too much to say you would never do that deal. But my opinion, Josh Allen, it's tough for me to move off of him. I wouldn't want to move off of him. Coach, do you think this was a good move for Chris here?
So I do look at this as Hurts and Genty, Allen and Hampton. That's kind of a wash to me. I view Genty better than Hampton. I view Allen better than Hurts, but it's all kind of close. So I take that away.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, so I look at Jawan Jennings and a 2027 second for Shakir and Trey Harris. See, I would personally rather have Shakir and Trey Harris than Jennings and a 27 second. So I'm going Josh Allen side of this.
Yeah, I think I'm with you too. I think I'd rather have Shakir and Trey Harris. I mean, Trey Harris is a guy I believe in. I'm not sure what to make of Jawan Jennings. I know a lot of people really like Jawan and what he did. I love him as a player. Fantasy-wise, I have no clue what to make of him. And I think a lot of people have just touted him as being a fantasy-relevant player, and we're going to throw him in our lineups. I don't think I have a single share of Jawan Jennings, and I don't see that changing. So, Coach, my question to you is do you have belief in Jawan Jennings? Would you be comfortable in that? But to me, it seems like this manager overvalued him.
Yeah, that's me too. Like I like Pearsall better than I like Jennings. There's a lot of people out there that like Jennings better than Pearsall. I personally think Pearsall will have a bigger role. Trey Harris was a mid 25 second at worst this past year. So, and Shakir to me is worth a second all day long. So I think Cronster came out well here.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, Tyler is here, Coach, so I'm going to add Tyler in. Welcome in, my friend. Let's keep going on here. We're going to we got one last question here. Did Kyler Murray tell coaches last year he didn't want to run, or is that BS? I don't remember if he said that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Either of you have anything different?
I don't think so. I don't remember that being said.
Yeah, me neither. I don't remember that. I mean, he didn't run as much, so there is that. But no, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's jump to our next trade, guys. I think this one might be the most fun. So I hope Pete is listening because I really want to spark some controversy here. We have in a 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR tight end premium league, we've got JJ McCarthy in a 2026 second-round pick for Bo Nix in a 2026 third-round pick. So we are swapping quarterbacks and switching one round in 2026 rookie draft. I'll kick us off here, guys, because I think this is the hot take. I would rather have JJ McCarthy over Bo Nix, and a lot of people are going to fight that. They're not going to like it because Bo Nix has already proved it, and JJ McCarthy hasn't played a single down. But I'm here to tell you, I truly believe in JJ McCarthy. I liked him pre-draft, and I like him now. I think if we're comparing offenses, that offense in Minnesota, I trust it. We can call the head coaches a wash. Kevin O'Connell's great. Sean Payton's great. Let's compare the wide receiver rooms. Who's better? The Denver wide receiver room with Vele and Cortland Sutton and Mims, or the room that has Justin Jefferson and Addison? Give me that room. You want to talk about tight ends? Evan Ingram's coming into town in Denver. That's a great pickup. Is he better than TJ Hawkinson? I'm not entirely sure he is. I'd rather have that room. The offensive lines, I think, are both solid. The run games, I think the consistency of Aaron Jones in Minnesota is better for me there. So I would rather have JJ McCarthy over Bo Nix, and I get up and around. So I'm all for that trade. Well done to whoever did that. Coach, go ahead. I know you're piping hot.
Oh man, you've lost your mind. You've absolutely lost your mind. So wait, Bo Nix, who already proved it, right? He proved it in year one. And when we're talking fantasy, the thing that we also need to remember is that Bo Nix is a better athlete than JJ McCarthy. Bo Nix will use his legs to a much, much higher degree than JJ McCarthy will. Obviously, in the deal, the third round pick is valued. So Bo Nix is valued slightly higher in this deal, I guess you could say, slightly. But Bo Nix has done it. And you know what elite quarterbacks do? They make the wide receivers in their room better. He obviously did that. He took 0 weapons, right? And did what he did last year with virtually nothing. He made Cortland Sutton relevant. Bo Nix did that, right? And so now he's just going to continue to improve. Sean Payton's going to continue to let him read RPOs and use his legs when he needs to. The sky's the limit for this guy, and Matt has lost his mind.
Cortland Sutton had 10 touchdowns in 2023. Was Bo Nix the quarterback? No. He only had 8 last year. So let's calm down a little bit there.
JJ McCarthy might be okay. Like, he really might be. I mean, Sam Darnold was good in Minnesota, so I understand your thought there. Like, I do get that. But there's so much unproven with JJ McCarthy. It's a little bit scary. It has to be, right? We know in college he made some good throws, but he spent a big chunk of his time turning around and handing the ball off too. So there is that. This just the unproven versus the proven to me.
Okay.
So I'm going Bo Nix.
Real quick, Tyler, before you get to go, just so I can get my point in here, is if we're going to talk about he's proven and he already did it, Bo Nix scored 328 points last year and played 17 games. Heck of a season. QB7, job well done. Sam Darnold scored 319 points. We're talking about 10 points. Just 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that much. I think there's a world where JJ McCarthy can improve on that, be better, and not to mention I'm getting a pick upgrade. So I love that. Tyler, what's your thoughts on this deal?
Oh, hang on. Whoa. I think there's a world where Bo Nix plays better also. Bo Nix threw 12 interceptions. He can improve on that significantly, right? So what made him quarterback 7? He threw 29 touchdowns, right? How many yards did he rush for, Matt?
Bo Nix?
How many rushing touchdowns did he have?
He had 4 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, 430. Is JJ McCarthy going to run for 400 yards?
No, but I think he could replicate more than what Sam Darnold did, and that was 200 yards for 1 touchdown.
Yeah, okay.
I think the only thing holding back McCarthy at this point is probably the injury, like coming back from the injury. I mean, I see them very similarly. The reason I say that, I would still take Bo Nix. So before Coach gives me the hands, okay, I would still take Bo Nix at this point. But that's because of the proven versus unproven thing. I know Darnold was there last year, but that's a different quarterback, same system, okay? I get your point, Matt. We would all view J.J. McCarthy as an upgrade to Sam Darnold. Absolutely. However, I've already seen Bo Nix in the same system he's going to be playing in. And so to me, although the wide receiver room is better in Minnesota, I would probably still lean Bo Nix. Now, if JJ McCarthy comes out and he starts the year hot, sure, you may not get this deal done anymore. But if you could, I might switch tunes then. But for me, it's just the comfortability in wanting a stable quarterback and somebody who I know is going to produce for me at a high level. And sure, Bo Nix could get better. He could also regress. It does, like, we've already seen CJ Stroud break out in his rookie year and then regress. You know, we could easily see Jaden Daniels do the same thing this year. So all these guys have a chance to come down, but they also have a chance to just kind of stay where they were either. So, but we haven't seen it from JJ McCarthy yet at the pro level. So for me, I'll take Nix.
Well,
I
Bo
think you
Nix got
mentioned-
added weapons, right? He got added weapons. Ingram, Harvey. I mean, those are significant upgrades. J.K. Dobbins is also an upgrade for him in that offense. And he's done it. Like, we just flat don't know if J.J. McCarthy's any good or not, right? To me, it feels like a major roll of the dice if you're going to say J.J. McCarthy's going to be a top 5 quarterback. So that's what he's going to have to do in order to beat Bo Nix at this point.
Is he? Is he? Apparently, he just has to be top 7. That's what Bo Nix was last year.
Okay. He was 7, right? Okay, sorry, top 6.
Well,
sorry.
I mean,
so Sam Darnold's going to be a top 6 quarterback. Let's make a wager on that right now. I'm taking
Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy. Well, hang
JJ
on.
McCarthy.
Let's park here for a second because I think Tyler brings up an interesting point. You guys have said numerous times on shows, off air, in our group text, everything you want to talk about. You guys have mentioned that there's a world where Jaden Daniels regresses. Why can't we talk about Bo Nix regressing? I mean, yeah, he threw 12 picks, but maybe he's turnover prone. Is that possible?
I just did.
Could he throw 14 next year? Absolutely,
Yeah.
he could.
He could also throw less touchdowns. Like, it's all in like there's a range of outcomes. He could regress, he could go backwards, but I feel like 29-12 is more middle of the road, and he still finished as the QB7 versus like he didn't have the Justin Herbert, rookie season that we had years ago where everybody was like, oh my God, he's the next like Patrick Mahomes or whoever you want to comp him to at this point. But we didn't have that with Bo Nix. We all thought he was good, but if you look at it statistically, it wasn't as good as some of the others have been. So I do see the point. I brought it up. He could easily regress. I think all the rookies could regress because defenses will figure out their tendencies. They'll learn how to play against them. All that happens. We already know that. The thing that comes back is we've just not seen it from JJ McCarthy yet. That's my only get up. If we had seen him play a few games, or whatever, and I had already seen it work on an NFL field, I might think differently. But to me, I just haven't seen it.
I know you guys don't want to hear it, but he played in the preseason, and he played well.
He did.
He played well.
He played
he looked
well
really dang good.
Stringers. He lit up those third stringers.
He did. He did. He went out there. He put his eye paint on, and he went to war, boys. He went out there. He went like 8 for 11 and a tutty.
Oh my God! Bring up Pete's point. Pete makes a good point on your side right here. I see it in the comments.
Let's break it down.
He brings up a good point here.
Pete, the resident Broncos fan. I know. Well, we're going to read both. Relax, Coach. Hang on. Let me direct the ship here. He adds to your point, Coach, that Nick's added weapons and Ingram. They did what he did with one of the worst run games, and he had a top 5 offense this year. Harvey and Ingram are upgrades. Plus, they had Pat Bryant. I don't know what Pat Bryant is, but what we do know is the Denver front office said that's the guy we want to go get, and they went and targeted him, and they targeted him early. So, and he's a guy that's on waivers in a lot of leagues. So, note that. He adds that O'Connell in Minnesota hasn't had a starting quarterback score less than 11th in points per game, and they averaged 19 points during that time. I think it's a fair argument either way. So what Pete is essentially trying to say, guys, is I'm right, you're both wrong. He would rather have J.J. McCarthy. He's not on the show to defend himself. So Pete, the resident Broncos fan, go ahead, clip this. He wants J.J. McCarthy.
Is he saying that O'Connell's a better coach than Sean Payton too? Am I picking that up?
Maybe. I think that's why I said at the beginning, I think it's a wash. Like, I think they're both great.
Are you prepared for Minnesota to be the worst team in NFC North? Because you need to be.
You need to focus on
Settle
the Bears
in.
if they can throw for
Settle
4,000
in.
yards, because the
We're gonna be
answer so
third.
far in the entire franchise is no.
We're going to
Listen.
finish third in the North. Get that
Listen,
right.
Coach is the one though. Coach is the one that always preaches the value of thirds in a draft compared to seconds. We say it every year. The seconds and thirds have about the same hit rate. So at this point, it's just whoever you prefer out of the quarterbacks, right? I get it on paper. The value is more for the second. It's worth more.
Yep.
But if you're looking at hit rates, you're probably cutting hairs here, really, honestly.
And Chris does add, guys, that there's a world. Important to mention there's a world where Pete trades Knicks for Rodgers. Totally agree. Once again, Pete's not here to defend himself, so that could absolutely happen. But more importantly, guys, we have a question from Jamie. So, Jamie, we appreciate your patience. He says, would you give CMC for the 105? My other running backs are Bijan Genti, the 101, and Pacheco. Would I give CMC for the 105? Yeah, pretty quickly. I'd rather have the 105 in any situation. Don't care what I'm doing with my team. If you've got
Especially with that
Bijan,
room.
Genti, and Pacheco, yeah.
Mhm.
Dang right.
I wonder if this is like single QB or if it's super flex, because I feel like that it doesn't change my answer. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, okay, let's think about it this way. At what point would you say no, I'm keeping CMC? If you're willing to give up CMC for the 105, at what point do you say, I'm good?
Maybe like the 112 and I'm a winning team and like I think I can compete and win a championship. I mean, that's probably the line for me. I mean, I think his actual value is somewhere near a second, somewhere in that range, just because he's 29, coming off multiple injuries, lots and lots of question marks for him. But in my eyes, if I'm keeping him on my roster, it's because I have to know I'm competing for a championship. Like I have to know in the back of my mind, I am a contender. If I have any doubt whatsoever, I'm moving him. Don't care what it is. Any first, an early second, give it to me. So if I'm getting 105,
Jamie adds
this is
a single quarterback, and he's a contender. So now here's the thing: if CMC stays healthy, there's a real chance you win it. But I'm telling you, like, right? If he doesn't, then you hit a home run with the 105.
That's a big if, though.
Dang right.
But
Huge if.
let's talk about rookies then for a second. If we're moving to the 105, so we're saying the 105, we already know he's taking Genti. So now the next players that are going to go, let's say Tech goes, Travis Hunter goes,
And
Hampton goes. Now we're talking about Henderson. So are you comfortable if you plug in Henderson? So now your room is Genti, Henderson, Pacheco, and Bijan in a dynasty league. I love that. If it's Judkins, I love that. If you switch the scenarios around and let's say one of those wide receiver falls, whether it's Tet or Travis Hunter, I'd rather have him too. So I think, in my opinion, the 105 is just too valuable in this situation. And the other elephant in the room that we're not talking about is even if you get that 105, the second you're on the clock, you can move it. You can move it for something else. You can go get another running back. You can go get, maybe a Jonathan Taylor and something else. You can go get a wide receiver if that's what you need. Maybe you need a tight end. I don't know if this is a tight end premium. So I think I'd rather have the 105 because it gives me the flexibility.
I agree.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be Henderson, Judkins, something like that at minimum. All right. At worst case scenario.
Absolutely. And the other option too is you trade back. You don't like the 105, you slide back a couple picks, you pick up a guy like Loveland, you pick up a guy like Warren, and you add something for the future. So I think that's a great deal. I would do it even if you're a contender because your room's still good.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie had to run off, guys. So we appreciate you catching in, Jamie. We will catch you on the next one. But let's get to our next trade, guys. So if you're here, be sure to like the stream. We're going to continue to roll through. If you've got any questions for us, throw them in the chat. And our next trade here, boys, is Tank Bigsby and a 2026 first-round pick for Kyron Williams. This is a 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR, not a tight end premium, so just a standard league. Looking at this deal, the biggest question mark that we're going to have to talk about is what is Kyron Williams worth? Previously, Tyler and I were in a league where we traded, I believe, a first-round pick and something else. Or no, we traded a second and Waddle for him and another pick, maybe. I don't remember. Is Kyron Williams worth a first-round pick? I think generally speaking, I would say no. I think the other two here would say yes. So, Coach, I'm going to let you evaluate this trade first here. I'll throw it back up on the screen here. Tank Bigsby, 26 first, and Kyron Williams. Where are you at on this deal?
Well, Kyron Williams is, without a doubt, in my opinion, worth a late first. Like, Kyron Williams is the dude in LA, contrary to what everybody else wants to say. Every year, we're getting rid of Kyron Williams, and Kyron Williams is a stud. Like, so there's that. Now, Tank Bigsby, I don't know. That may be absolutely nothing. The running back room in Jacksonville is so scary to me. I do not want to touch it at all. So I will say this. If you are rebuilding, right, Bigsby in a 26 first, fine. I totally understand that, right? But in a vacuum, give me Kyron Williams.
Yep. Tyler?
So I looked up our trade, by the way, Matt. It was Waddle and a third for Kyron. That's what we traded.
Okay.
That's all it was. Okay. So back to this question. If I can keep Kyron, right, even if I'm rebuilding, so let's think about this. Kyron is 24 years old, guys. I don't know if you realize that or not. He's 24 years old, and we've sat here and talked about replacing him for years at this point. So, and yet he still produces. So to me, if you want to rebuild, here's what I would do. I would hold on to Kyron at this point. You wait until the season starts. You wait until he is a top 12 running back, back half, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. He's going to be our RB1, top RB2, regardless. And then as soon as he gets to that point and somebody in your league is going to have a running back injury, you can easily get at least a 26 first. And if not, you can get an upgrade on top of Bigsby easily if you can't even get more picks. So to me, I would hold Kyron because we talk about it all the time. He's the best player in the deal and he's a known asset. At this point, I would hold him just to move him in the future. I know that's a scary game. He could go out and get injured first game or first play. Okay, he could pull an Aaron Rodgers for all we know. The bad part about it is we don't know. We can't predict these injuries, but you give me the best player in the deal, especially whenever I have question marks about, one, what is Tank Bigsby and the Jacksonville backfield, and two, who is my 2026 first even going to be? Because if you're shipping that to somebody, that team that you're getting the first from is probably a contender. Let's be honest. So it's a late first at this point, or middle of the pack at best. You're not getting another rebuilding team to trade for Kyron. You're just not. So to me, I would keep Kyron. If you're really dead set on selling him, sell him once the season starts.
Yeah, I think that the important thing for us to note here is, one, when this trade was sent to us, we were told this was a rebuilding team. So getting a first and Tank Bigsby, like Coach said, totally get it. Like that makes absolute sense. If I'm a competing team on the other side, like Tyler just mentioned, I'm taking the guy. I actually like Kyron Williams for a first. I generally don't want to move that pick. He finishes RB7, RB6 the year before that. But my general principle, and I know you guys are going to disagree with me, is I don't think Kyron Williams is worth a first. My question, though, is I'm going to pose it because Albert asks, does he get an extension with the Rams? If that were to happen, yes. I think it increases his value. It has to, right? I mean, he's going to be locked into the Rams offense with Sean McVay. How long Stafford going to be there? I don't know. But as long as he's there, they're going to be a competing team. And we trust Sean McVay. It's just so difficult for me to evaluate Kyron Williams. I think he's really great. But the main point that we have to talk about, and we'll spend here for a minute, is what do we do about the big plays from Kyron Williams? It simply has not happened. He's just been a guy churning yards through, breaking tackles, getting through the goal line, cloud of dust in 5 yards. The actual big plays has been a struggle for him, and it's been a struggle for this Rams run game. I don't want to say the pass game because obviously Kupp and Puka are fantastic. They added Jarquez Hunter, and that's somebody that we have to talk about who excels at making big plays. That is essentially what got him drafted. This front office, as much as we want to talk about Terrence Ferguson, how they were in love with him and they wanted to go after him, Jarquez Hunter was the exact same thing. This team talked about it multiple times. We don't want him to go. When do we draft him? When do we take him? I think he has a role. We're in the era of the bell cow, and maybe that's going to impact Kyron's, contract extension. Is he going to take a team-friendly deal? I don't know, but I think that Jarquez Hunter could have a role, and I think it's going to negatively impact Kyron Williams. I don't think he's going to have a stranglehold on this backfield like we talk about. I mean, 2 years ago, he only had 228 carries. Last year, he had 316. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Blake Corum is not good, despite everyone wanting to draft him because he was good at Michigan. Newsflash, production in college does not always equate anything in the NFL level.
Newsflash, they targeted him too.
They did. Right? But it didn't work. It didn't work.
Oh, exactly. So just because
we know that this Rams
Hunter
team
doesn't mean he's replacing Kyron. It doesn't.
It doesn't mean that. But we also know that this Ram team is not afraid to say, we got it wrong. We'll move on and we'll do it again. I think that it's just something that we need to at least accept, that Kyron doesn't have this stranglehold on the backfield. Because all the time, Coach, I know you love to talk about the fact that Kyron Williams is the guy there, and I don't dispute that he's the guy, but I don't think that he's this bell cow that you tout him to be. I mean, every single running back that they've had has had roles. I mean, Blake Corum had a role. Ronnie Rivers has gotten carried. Like, I just think that it's not necessarily the end all be all of a guy who's going to get every single carry, every single opportunity, and never come out of the game.
Well, no, I don't think Kyron is Bijan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. I do think he's a top 10 back, top 12 back. I do think that. I'll tell you something else that this deal made me think of is it's really hard for me to call myself a contender and start moving 26 first before we've ever played a game. You know what I'm saying? Before we've ever went through a week or two. Like, that's something you have to really be careful about. Like, you really do. Because all it takes is week 1 or week 2 and your quarterback gets hurt. And now you've already traded away your 26 first and you're in a major bind. You know what I mean? So you gotta be a little careful there. You better make dang well sure you are competing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Coach. And a lot of times, I think we've said it before, but generally when I'm managing a team, I approach it from the standpoint of, I'm not moving a first unless I know I am a top team that can win the league. And I don't mean that you're a playoff team, because a playoff team is not the same as a true contender. And that's a hard thing to separate. Generally, we look at our teams and we just expect, oh, I love these players. They're my favorite player. I'm a great fantasy manager. I'm going to win the league. And sometimes you have to step back and know, I need to have an insurance plan. And your future picks are that insurance plan. So make sure that you're not moving those picks without knowing what you're actually got on your team. And that doesn't mean, like, if someone sends you a stupid deal where they offer you Justin Jefferson for a first and you're not a competing team, you take it because Justin Jefferson is that good. But at the end of the day, you can't just make reckless deals. And this is one where I could see it coming back and biting a manager if their team's not necessarily that good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree with that. Like, I'm not sure I would do this deal in June, just to be honest. I mean, for Kyron, if it was Drake London, I'd be more apt to. Running backs just scare me a little bit more, other than 4 or 5 guys.
Well, Pete asked, guys, anybody want to take a pizza bet on Kyron being extended before week 1? I'm not interested in that personally. Coach, you interested?
I mean, is he saying he won't be or will be?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Pete. Pete, what are you saying?
I mean, I think he will be.
Are you saying he will be extended?
Will.
All right,
Yeah,
well, there's 2 pizzas there if you say he won't, Pete. So Grunster adds that I don't think Kyron or Cook get contracts. I think Terry does. I think Terry will get a contract too. I've also read that Terry's kind of getting a mini vacation too. Like, the team kind of was like, yeah, we're going to take care of you. I don't know how true that is, but I think they'll eventually work it out. They love him.
Well, I saw McVay said the other day that they got a lot closer on a deal with Kyron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, McVay was there when they paid Gurley, and that didn't work out. So is it the same thing? I wouldn't say so, but maybe. The running back pay scale went crazy last year with Jacobs, Henry, and Saquon. They all got paid. They all earned it. Henry and Saquon had fantastic years. Josh Jacobs, I don't think we can talk about enough how well he played. He has been absolutely fantastic for that Packers team.
He is criminally underrated. He is so underrated.
Everybody wonders what happened to the wide receivers and why none of them produced. If you go look at Josh Jacobs' points per game, and basically from like midway point of the year or maybe even a little before that, you'll see why nobody produced, because it was Josh Jacobs. He just ran wild the whole year.
He put him on his back and into the playoffs. He really did.
Yep. Pete thinks that he will be there, so it looks like nobody's getting a pizza. Sorry, guys. Well, let's carry on to our next trade. What do you say, guys? This one here is going to be interesting for us to break down. I know it's a little bit small, so apologies there. It's Evan Ingram, Brian Robinson, a 2026 first-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick for Tyreek Hill, Marvin Mims, and Elijah Arroyo. This is a 12-team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium league. Again, let's note, tight end premium. Frankly, in my opinion, I want Evan Ingram in this first-round pick. I think this is an absolute home run for Team 1. What is Tyreek Hill? I don't know. Maybe he's a little bit in this upcoming season, but Marvin Mims don't necessarily care about. Elijah Arroyo, as much as I like him and his athleticism there, finding his way in Seattle where he could get on the field, I'd much rather have an Evan Ingram. I'd much rather have Brian Robinson, and I'd much rather have those two very, very valuable picks.
Yeah. I think I completely agree there. I do like the upside of Elijah Arroyo, but Tyreek Hill is old. I do tend to think he's lost a step. Like I think we've seen about nearing the end for Tyreek Hill, so I would take the first and the second round pick there.
Mm-hmm. I think this is an extreme value, man. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I know it sucks for us to all be on the same side, but I mean, if you look at it, you've probably got the number 2 weapon in targets in Evan Ingram for the Broncos, whereas you just traded away a Bronco who's not done anything primarily. I mean, he's had a few catches here and there, a few deep bombs, but nothing crazy in Marvin Mims. Like we said, Tyreek is declining. If Tua can stay healthy, sure, he can have a great season, but I don't want to take that bet. I know Coach doesn't want to take that bet. He's traded and away and for Tua just because he wants some exposure, but not too much. So it's just like, take your pick. So I don't even think it's really close. The Arroyo, like, I get people wanting to bet on that. I don't care at this point. I'll miss on him, and I'll take Evan Ingram, who I know is going to produce.
I mean,
I also
Tyreek
think
Hill,
about if I've got Tyreek Hill, I want to move him. Like I think there are people out there that still think he's amazing. Like they really are. So
Obviously.
you got to take advantage of that. You got to take advantage of those guys.
I mean, I understand it's a year where he didn't have Tua the entire time, and there's no doubt that Tua is an upgrade over anyone else that's in that room. And we could talk about the health question marks there all day. But I mean, he finished as wide receiver 21 last year. He's 31 years old. 31. Like the end is coming, and it could be this year. Maybe he gets one more. And the fall off is next year or the year after. But I just think now is the time to move it. And if you're telling me you can get a deal done where you get a first coming back, that's a slam dunk. That's a trade where everyone else in the league, I have no doubt, went, what? You got what? Like a first and a second? And like I get it where, yeah, you can talk about the fact that Elijah Arroyo is someone to maybe turn into something. Maybe Marvin Mims takes a step forward, but I would be shocked. I mean, Mims is a guy who had 39 catches last year. The year before that, he had 22. And not to mention this team added Pat Bryant. So I don't think that Marvin Mims is suddenly going to take a step forward where he's going to be a startable player. I mean, he was wide receiver 55 last year. 55. That did not help you. It hurts you. So I think whoever made this deal, it was reckless. It's just reckless.
Mm-hmm. But and let's also not forget, you're getting Brian Robinson in that deal, who, no, he's not a superstar, but he is solid running back depth. Like, solid. Like, if you have him as your running back 4 or 5, I would be content with that all day, every day. So, I mean, yes, we're already all on that side. We're saying it's a landslide. That just adds insult to injury on top of it. Like, well done by taking the trade.
I'll point this out, too, because we talk about this a lot. Like, Brian Robinson was a third-round rookie draft pick. Like, he was a third-round pick in Dynasty drafts. Like, that's the value of a third-round pick. Like, I was giving somebody crap on Twitter the other day for undervaluing third-round picks. There's a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got done talking about Kyron Williams, who was also a third-round pick.
Like we can go through a whole slew of people that we've drafted over the last couple of years. We talked about Bucky Irving earlier in the day, or earlier in this show. He was a late second. I have a couple trades or a couple parts where I got him in the third round. Like these picks have value, and if you hit on them, it can absolutely change your roster. And it's not to say that Brian Robinson is some stud, but he is far out past the value he was drafted at in fantasy leagues. I mean, it's been unbelievable. It's been years of fantasy relevance, flex starts, potential RB2 roles. Like he's been great for fantasy, and he was a third round pick. So I just struggled to see where this deal that we were talking about is going to come back and help that owner. Or on the other side, the player that got the picks, they're rolling, man. That's a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we've got a couple more things here in the chat here, guys. So let's break that down real quick. Pete asked us, is Marshawn Lloyd going to be a good stash? I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, we talked about Jacobs and what he was. If something were to happen to Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd is a guy that you're going to want. So I think he's a stash. Am I going out to buy him? Probably not. I think there's other names I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good handcuff to have, but Jacobs ain't coming off the field. Jacobs is the guy unless something happens to him.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, well, let's jump to our next trade, boys. This one's going to be tough. I already know which side Tyler's going to take simply because it's one name listed in here. We've got Hollywood Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs for Xavier Legette, Quinshon Judkins, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick. So 2 picks, Quinshon Judkins, Xavier Legette for Hollywood Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a 12-team Dynasty Superflex PPR tight end premium league. Tyler, it's your boy, so we're going to kick it to you first. Which side are you taking?
You had to do me that way. I mean, how do you not just take Gibbs? I mean, the reason I say that is, I mean, I love Quinshon. And I like the picks. It's great. But Gibbs is
Judkins is Tyler's boy too. You forgot that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was curious. I was trying to see who he was going to set me up as. I was like, okay, well, are we going?
He's no Gibbs. He didn't go to Alabama. He didn't play at Alabama.
Oh my God! Why are we? Why is he played at Georgia Tech before that? Like, hey, I mean, the thing is like
at Georgia Tech.
Yes, he was and he ran all over everybody, and then transferred to Alabama and looked just as good, if not better. So, I mean, take your pick. No, give me Gibbs. He's the best player in the deal. I think Hollywood, he could have some value. I'm not really worried about that. I'll take the for sure thing in Gibbs.
Coach?
Flash that back up there for me one more time.
Sure.
I think I'm leaning. Give me the picks, Judkins and Legette. Judkins, to me, I really believe Judkins is about to be a top 10 fantasy back. He's about to become relevant. So give me the 26 first, the second, and Legette. I'm going Judkins.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting because if I had to guess, I would say on the face of the deal, it's fair. Like, I do think it's fair.
Mm-hmm.
The fall off of Gibbs where you net Judkins a first and a second, that's pretty good. Hollywood for Legette, yeah. I mean, you can talk about which side you prefer. Maybe you want the younger in Legette. Maybe he takes a step forward in year 2. I would rather have Hollywood Brown. I talked about this a little bit with Pete. I think we did it on our last live show. I think he's a little bit underrated. Like, we're not really taking what he could be there in Kansas City. There's a world where he steps into a bigger role, and this offense moves forward with both Rashee Rice on the field coming back healthy, possibly no suspension for him too, just throwing that nugget in there, Xavier Worthy in year 2. So I don't know. I just think that this deal is really, really interesting. I get what Tyler's saying. There's no doubt in my mind the best player in the deal is Jahmyr Gibbs. If you made this deal to go get Jahmyr, I'm not going to fault you too much because I get it. I think he has that much firepower. If I'm slightly rebuilding, or even if I'm competing, and you know what I say, I'm the guy with Tyreek Hill, my team's a little bit older, I'd take that first, second, and Judkins to kind of retool my roster, still have the ability to compete, and I net more assets. So I really like this deal, and I'm so torn on which side to pick. I think it would just depend on the situation. But just for the sake of argument, because I like it, I'm going to go with Judkins. I think that's a great move for that owner if they did net both those picks. We don't know if they're early, late, whatever they are, but that to tear down from Gibbs is not terrible.
So two things.
No,
Go ahead, Coach. You're fine.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
If it was 10 first round picks for Jahmyr Gibbs, Tyler's going Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, I'm not. What are we talking about? Look, I like Jahmyr Gibbs. That doesn't mean I'm stupid.
He is good. I'm just kidding. Obviously.
No, I know. So first off, Matt, which way did you think I was leaning? Did you think I was taking Gibbs, or did you think I was taking Judkins? Now I'm curious. I'm actually curious.
It was Gibbs for exactly what Tyler or what Coach just said. I feel like if there was a deal where it was like 7 first, you'd be like, but it is Gibbs. And I'm not going to hate you because I'm the same way with Justin Jefferson, where I'm like, I mean, because Coach has sent me plenty of deals for Justin Jefferson in our main Dynasty league, where I'm like, well, it's a pretty good deal, but I can't do it because it's Justin Jefferson. I can't hit accept on a deal where I move him. I just can't do it.
The other thing I was going to say, though, is like the deal where I would take Judkins in this deal is if Gibbs is like my only running back, or like my depth is severely lacking. Like if I had Gibbs and let's say, God, like I don't even know what tier do you go. Say you had another rookie, like you had Caleb Johnson or something like that. That's my 2 running backs. I might tear it down at that point. You know what I mean? But if I have a solid running back 2 that can support, me with Gibbs, and I've got the depth, sure, I'll take it. But I feel like this is more of a depth building piece, or like somebody was like, hey, I have all these assets. I want the stud. I'm going to go get Gibbs. Like I can see it either way. So as much as I may love Gibbs and they want to hate on me for it and say that I wouldn't take 7 first, I actually would, believe it or not. But no, I mean, it all fun and jokes aside, I do think it's a very fair deal. Much more fair than the last one. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you there, Tyler. I think it is a fair deal. Just seeing, both sides of it. I understand where you might go either way personally.
Mm-hmm.
But it just kind of depends on your team. You kind of have to stop, take a second back and think about it for a second. But we've got a question in here, guys. So let's hit these comments. We've got a question from Terrell. He says, in my Superflex half PPR, I just traded Josh Allen for Goff, Breece Hall, the 2025 111, 210, and a 2026 first. Did I get enough? So he moved Josh Allen, big time trade. It's a Superflex league. His only other assets were Chase and Puka, and he felt like he needed to make a move. I mean, I get it. And if you have Chase and Puka and you add Jared Goff, I'd be interested to know, do you have another quarterback? But on the face of it, I think it's some pretty good value if you're rebuilding, just off the top of my head. I mean, you're netting Breece Hall. It's a premium running back. You get the 110. You get a 26 first. You get a second-round pick as well, and you still add a super flex quarterback. So I don't think it's terrible. I generally avoid trading Josh Allen unless I can get a super haul, but I don't think this is bad if I'm rebuilding.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If I'm rebuilding, I definitely think about this. Looking at the 111, to me, I would have my eyes set possibly on Jackson Dart right there to try to see if I can get a young quarterback. I'm just sort of thinking out loud because I don't know what the rest of your team looks like. But that would be an opportunity to get a young quarterback with a lot of potential that can possibly step in one day and help produce for you. I like it. There's a lot there. I mean, if you're trying to rebuild, Josh Allen's not going to help you win. Move on for him. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Real quick, how old is Jared Goff? Isn't he like 27, 28?
I'll tell you. Give me 1 second.
Now, hang on a second. I will say this. If I've got Josh Allen, Chase, and Puka, how are you not competing?
Maybe his running back room is terrible.
Yeah,
doesn't have a second running back.
It had to be pretty bad. Yeah, it had to be pretty bad because.
Okay,
I would think so. Go ahead, Tyler.
So he put a comment
30,
in the very
by the way.
bottom. 30? Okay, dang, he's older than I thought he was. All right. He put a comment at the very end that says his other quarterback was Daniel Jones. So that knocks us down a huge amount here.
Yeah.
That being said, though, with Goff being 30 and Josh Allen being who he is, I know the rest of the pieces are like good. Like you probably got some good value out of it and you tiered down. I get that. I almost wish I could have just went a more middle tier, younger quarterback and not
Yeah,
went for Goff. Because here's the thing. While we all like Goff and we like the Lions, we also don't know how they're going to function without Ben Johnson. Could they
fair.
regress? Absolutely. My thing is now, like, let's just say that the Lions regress to the point where, not saying they're not good, but let's just say they knock off, and they're now at middle of the pack in scoring. That's going to hurt your quarterbacks tremendously. And we always know that we want the stud quarterbacks. That's where a lot of your points come from. Yeah, we want the wide receivers too, but like we want the chance at a stud quarterback. I don't think Jared Goff is giving you any kind of like standout ability personally, whereas Josh Allen is probably going to finish as the quarterback 1 or the quarterback 2 because that's what he's done for the last like 5 years. So I get wanting to move off of Allen, but if I'm moving off of him, even in this package, I would want to upgrade over Goff. So like,
Yeah.
if you want to stay in the same age range, I'd rather have Baker than Goff personally.
Sure. Yeah,
So
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
just food for thought. Like, sure, I think you got a good amount of value. I really do. But just kind of thinking like maybe you think Goff is just going to be the same thing he was last year. That might lend itself to a little bit of trouble if you don't get that.
But the other thing he could do here is really he could take all these picks that he has, trade one of them for another quarterback, and now his team is competing.
Yeah, and the other option too
Yeah.
is say he takes and he has 2 first in 2026. Love that since you're rebuilding. You could take the 108 and the 111 and see if you could move up to the 104, and maybe you take one of those guys that falls. Maybe Travis Hunter falls. Maybe Cam Ward falls. Exactly. And I know Coach would be all over that. This changes if his quarterback room becomes Jared Goff, Cam Ward, and Daniel Jones. No, it's not great, but you have a guy for the future. You have a guy that's competent enough to win right now for the next 3 years in Jared Goff, and you figure it out. Because most of fantasy, especially Dynasty, is you just got to figure it out. You got to take some time to actually commit to that. And we have to mention Scott's in here. He said this is his first Dynasty year ever. And he said this is like Xmas being in here. So we appreciate you being in here, Scott. If you got questions, DM us on X. Let us know. We're happy to help you. We love doing this.
Absolutely.
We love talking about it. So we will continue to do that. But guys, we've got 2 more trades, and then I've got one more that I'm going to prop up on you right now. The 2 of these guys have not prepared for this at all, so they don't know that this is coming. But we did receive a trade over on X, and I'm going to throw it in there. It is a 2026 first-round picks, 2 of them, and the 103 for the 101 and the 201. Since you guys did not have any time to prepare for this, I'll start talking first. Basically, you're sliding back 2 picks and you're giving up the 201 to net 2 firsts in 2026. I think this is a really interesting deal. If those 2026 pan out to be ones early, that's going to be huge for this team. If it's a rebuilding team because they have the 101, they're jumping to the 103, so they're not sliding back a ton. They can still net a big time player. Whoever they want to go after, we could talk about that for hours. So, Coach, I'll start with you. Is 2 firsts enough for you in this deal?
Oh goodness, maybe. Like it's really. I think about it like I'm giving up Ashton Genty to get Hampton, Travis Hunter, something like that. 201 would be. I don't know. It could be a lot of people. It could be Buka. It could be Matt Golden.
It says it was Caleb Johnson. Just saying. We don't know what the 103 was, but it says it was Genty and Caleb Johnson was the 2 picks there. Does that change your mind?
I mean, I personally would have probably just held on to the 101 and drafted Genty myself, but just because I don't know what those 26 firsts are going to be. It could be 106, 108. I don't know.
Yeah. Tyler, what's your thoughts on this deal?
Honestly, I think I hate saying this. This is always the cop-out answer. I think it depends on what your team is. Obviously, if you're rebuilding, you want all the firsts you can get. But if you're in any kind of competing window, I think Genty's probably the upgrade. But I also could see the world too, where if 103 is Amari and Hampton, right? Yes, Genty's in a tier ahead of him, but they're not that far. There's not a gap. That, like we've already talked about, there were people that liked Amari and Hampton as their RB1. How crazy that may be, but there are people that felt that way. So if you're going to be able to take Amari and Hampton, and then I'm kind of iffy on Caleb Johnson. I don't know how to feel about it. I split down the middle with him and RJ Harvey at one point. Like I had two chances to take them, and I split them 50-50 because I don't know who's going to be better. So if seeing that that's Genty and Caleb Johnson, I probably would take the other side. If I could have taken the 201 and it not been a pick, like not been picked already, and I could take whoever I wanted, I could take a Trey Harris, I could take somebody like that, I'd probably take that side. That's just me personally.
So this trade came from Alexander on X, so we appreciate Alexander for sending us this deal. He adds that both of those first, one is more likely to be mid, one of them's likely going to be late. So I think that might impact our view on this a little bit more too. So I mean, I get what they're trying to do. I don't know which side he was, so I can't say for certain. But I understand what you're trying to do with getting those 226 first. The later those picks are, the worse this is for that 103 side, because I think we all agree Genty is the clear-cut 101. We can go back and forth on who we believe the 102 is. My personal opinion is Travis Hunter. I know the two of you have different viewpoints on that, and if it were to be Travis Hunter at the 103, I think that's valuable. But if it wasn't him, I get it. It just changes the deal. So we appreciate Alexander for sending that trade. We've got two more to get through. We're at the hour 10 mark. So if you're here, put your final comments in here. We'll come back just to catch us up real quick, guys.
It is also possible that Amari on Hampton down the road is better than Ashton Genty. So if you really believe he's that good, those things are possible.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important to know, too. We always say if you have conviction on a player, you should go buy them because you're going to be pissed if you didn't do it. Clover says sell Allen for picks, get J.J. McCarthy, and pocket the excess draft capital. He's undervalued, will almost certainly be more fantasy relevant than Goff. You missed an interesting conversation if you weren't here earlier, Clover, because everyone was coming after me for talking about J.J. McCarthy. So I appreciate your backup here, man. Cronster says that.
That's probably Matt's favorite comment of the night right there.
Yeah, it might be. Cruncher says he thinks that I'm going to fall out of my chair. I could. He said, I got him countering a ludicrous offer. Brady, Zeke for Jet. Dude accepted within minutes. Yeah. I get it. Okay, you guys ready to do our last two trades here? So if you're in the comments, let us know. We appreciate everyone being in here. Please be sure to like the stream. It helps us out greatly. Let's talk about another big-time deal that I'm sure we're going to disagree on, and that is Bijan Robinson and, of course, J.J. McCarthy. He's back for Jalen Hurts, Tyrone Tracy, and a 2027 third-round pick. This is a 10-team Dynasty PPR, 10 teams, so slightly lower. We don't know the full settings of this league, but it is important to note that 2027 third-round pick is absolutely the move that Coach would do. So I'm going to make him go first on this deal since he's the guy that would add a pick like that. Coach, which side are you taking on this with Bijan McCarthy or Hurts, Tyrone Tracy in a 2027 third-round pick?
Well, Hurts is obviously elite at his quarterback position. The tush-push stays in play, or at least it is right now. Hurts still stays as a top 3 fantasy quarterback without a doubt in my eyes. But to me, the hardest thing to get in fantasy is the elite 4 or 5 running backs. So if you can get one of those, then you need to do it. So I would do the Bijan side of this for sure. To me, if you got Bijan, Gibbs, Genty, any of these guys that are without a doubt the bell cows and the top 5 running backs, they can change your entire team. I'm Bijan. I know that surprised you a little bit, but
Tyler?
I was expecting them to go Hurts too, but I agree. I would go McCarthy and Bijan here. I do actually think I remember this. I was trying to make the show doc earlier, and there was some context to this one that I pulled from X. He does have Lamar and Dak remaining as his two quarterbacks, if that changes your mind at all. I think
and Dak.
Yeah, he has Lamar and Dak as his two remaining quarterbacks after trading away Jalen Hurts. So to me, that makes me go even harder after JJ McCarthy and Bijan. So I think that's good context to know. Even still, like if somebody was saying, "Oh well, I would probably take the Hurts side," I don't. At that point, knowing the context, I would go that way. Even then.
Honestly, I hate you gave me the context because if there wasn't any, I would be more interested in the Hurts side. I don't think Tracy and the third are too much, but I do think that Hurts, if the tush push remains, is so fantasy relevant that it just makes it difficult because he's going to score so many points. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's had like 15 rushing touchdowns almost like every single year. It feels like. So knowing that he has those other quarterbacks, I care a lot less. I would rather have Bijan. It's a 10-team league, so that star power is going to be all over your league. A bunch of teams are going to have that. You already have a good quarterback room. You're adding JJ McCarthy, so you get a young guy who could be a future star, like maybe I think, or maybe he's just more average, like Coach and Tyler are saying. And it's not necessarily something that's going to hurt you, but the three of us collectively agree Bijan's a top 3 dynasty running back. Wherever you want to put him, 1, 2, or 3, he's one of those guys where you go get him, you put him in your roster, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Yep. I'll tell you what, I want to say something else to this too. It's like everybody's acting like Tracy's just going to be thrown in the trash can. Like I don't think that's true necessarily. I think he's going to have a little bit more value than people are giving him credit for right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Matt brought it up because I preemptively put the context in there just because I didn't think it would change Coach's opinion at all, but I just wanted that to be out there. But Matt, let's say you don't know his quarterbacks. You don't know if it's Lamar or Dak, who he has left, and all you see is the deal as it sits. Would you still take? I know you are a big McCarthy believer, and obviously we all like Bijan. So, would you still give up that for Jalen Hurts, or would you give Jalen Hurts up to get that package back if that's not the case with your other quarterbacks?
So I think it's important to distinguish two things. Like I'm approaching this one from if I'm in a vacuum, whereas two, if you're talking about my team, I would have a really hard time moving away from both of those guys, just because of the fantasy presence they're going to have on my roster and my conviction that I have in JJ McCarthy. But if I saw this go down in one of my leagues and in the 10-team league where we know we need that star power, like I was just saying, Jalen Hurts provides just that. I mean, even if Hurts is a mediocre passer, which he has been at times, his fantasy value is insane. I mean, we're talking about a guy who had a down year last year. I get they won a Super Bowl, but passing-wise, he had a down year, and he was quarterback 8. I mean, he just has the ability to score so many points. He only had 18 passing touchdowns. If he gets that back over 20, he's going to score a ton of fantasy points. 14 rushing touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns. Like, those numbers are insane. With over 600 yards of rushing yards every single year for the last 4 years. And one year he had almost 800 rushing yards. There's just so much value there. And I get Bijan's great, but he essentially replicates Bijan's rushing, stats by himself, and he still gets to throw the ball. So there's just so much value with Jalen Hurts that I could see the deal going down and me going, okay, I get it. And like Coach said, if Tyrone Tracy has anything left to give, that just makes that deal stronger. I mean, yeah, we want to say Cam Scadaboo is great, but he was still a day 3 pick. There's a world where Tracy says, this is my job. And he played okay last year. I mean, he's only been a running back for 2 years? So you're telling me he can't get better too?
Yep.
So I think
100% agree.
I think that's just the way that I approach the deal. Like I said, if it was me personally, I'd have a hard time doing it because I believe in Bijan and I believe in JJ McCarthy more than most people. But again, if it went down in my league and if Coach sent that to me and said he did that deal, I'd go, All right, I get it. Like you want those points, like, and that's going to be a big time push for your team. So I understand.
Mhm.
Well, let's get to one more trade, boys. I know we got some comments in there. We will come back to those. We won't miss out on.
Paul's got a trade for us in the comments there.
Okay, you want to hit that one first?
Yeah, let's hit that one.
Let's hit Paul's question then. He says he sends Hawkinson in a 2025 first round pick, the 107 to 108 for London, or should I draft Ibuka? This is an easy answer for me. I know the answer for Coach. I don't know the answer for Tyler. That's the interesting part here. For me, it's London. I'd much rather have London. I mean, we could talk about, is this a tight end premium league, and what do you do with Hawkinson, and is that 106 or 107, or excuse me, 107 or 108 going to change the value? But in my mind, Drake London currently is criminally underrated. Like, I don't know why we're not talking more about Drake London and what he did last year, but I think he can get even better. Top 10 dynasty wide receiver. Love the value there. Give me Drake London.
Yep, all day.
Believe it or not, I would take London on this side. So,
Wow,
listen.
I'm shocked.
I am shocked.
I don't know why. It's at that point. I like Ibuka. I do. I loved him coming out, but that doesn't mean that I'm dumb enough to let London pass me for this. I mean, I don't know. I would take it at this point.
All right, Tyler. Way to come around. We're proud of you. The London hater stands up and says, I changed my mind. We're here.
No. I didn't change my mind. This is just the price point that I would pay.
Tyler, London and 107 for Gibbs.
Oh, shit. I'll take London, actually. I will.
It happened.
What? It happens.
No, you would never do that.
I'm just breaking.
No.
I'm breaking all the stereotypes, guys. There you go.
You are.
Do you feel that? Do you feel it in the air? Chris feels it in the air. The world is healing. It's what we needed. Everyone sleep easy tonight.
Iran and Israel just had a ceasefire.
Chris
welcome.
adds that London is a true alpha wide receiver one. He's young. He's a red zone monster. Yeah, well said, Chris. Well said.
Yes.
Matt and Coach check the Matt Coach Tyler check the Mediator DMs for a juicy trade. We will do that. Coach, hang on. I'll throw this last one up here, and then we'll do Pete's trade last. We're going to make him wait. This is a 2-for-1, so it's going to take us a second to work through it. Same manager, same team, 2 different trades. Let's start with the one on the left, gentlemen. We're going to do Rashad Smith and DJ Giddens with a 226 first-round picks for Devon Achane. So the big player here is going to be Devon Achane. He's the best player in the deal. You're essentially getting 2 dart throw running backs plus 2 first-round picks. Tyler, let's start with you here. Is the value here enough for you to say, yeah, I'd move Achane, or yeah, I'd pay for Achane?
I would pay for Achane at that price. It's not enough. The running backs are not enough. I know you're getting 2 firsts on that, but he looked like Christian McCaffrey, like prime Christian McCaffrey last year with the points per game he was putting up. So I'll pay that for Achane all day.
Coach?
Yeah, I like Achane too. I mean, the 2 firsts for a rebuild, I get it. Giddens is a handcuff and feels like he's going to be a handcuff for a little bit. Rashard Smith could be something, but yeah, I like Achane a lot.
Yeah, I hate to just follow you guys here, but I think that's the right move. If I'm in any type of compete, I'm cool with this price. If I'm rebuilding, I get it. I mean, maybe you could get a little bit more, but Coach creeping in from the side here. No need to panic, everyone. But let's just move on to our second trade here from this deal. And we've got Jonathan Taylor in a 2027 third-round pick for Josh Jacobs, a 2027 second, and a second 2027 second. So essentially swapping Taylor for Jacobs. Interesting deal here, guys. I think for me, I'd rather have Jacobs in the 2 picks. I don't think it's that far from Jonathan Taylor. He's cheaper than Jonathan Taylor, but I like getting those 2 picks on top of that. I think the immediate value of Jacobs is a win-now piece too. Coach, you go next because you love Jacobs more than anybody I know.
I'm with the Jacob side of this. I don't really understand the 27s. Like I always like to say, I could be dead by then. Like I'm just not moving 27s. Maybe 26s, but to me, Jacobs in 2 seconds for Taylor in a third. Jacobs in 2 seconds. That's easy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tyler.
Even as the residence Colt fan, I would take Jacobs there. I mean, there's 1 year in age difference. JT is 26, Jacobs is 27. I don't even think it's actually arguable. I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a better season, like production wise. And then you get the 2 seconds instead of a third. So I'll take it.
Even if you think they're dead, even players, I get better picks with the other one.
Yeah,
with the Jacobs deal.
Totally agree. Well, this last trade sent in from Pete. None of us have had the opportunity to look at it except for when I just pulled up the picture. And let me tell you, boys, it is disgusting. This is going to take us a second. So let's throw this trade up here and let's talk about it for a second. We've got a 12-team Dynasty Superflex
Oh my god!
PPR tied in premium. We have Josh Jacobs, Jawan Jennings, Justin Fields, and is it Elijah Wilson? I'm sorry.
Emmanuel
Wilson. Thank you. For Malik Washington, Jake Cowing, Lovelet, and then we have a 26 second, a 27 first, a 27 second, and a 28 first. Let me start by saying this. If your league allows you to trade 2028 picks, I think that's a bad move, personally, in my opinion. You shouldn't be able to trade picks that are that far out. I mean, in the words of coach, I could be dead by then. And this is typically what causes leagues to fold, in my opinion. I mean, if you're prepaying those, that's great, but 2028 is just too far. I think you should always do 2 years out, but everyone's different, so to each their own. So essentially you're getting 2 way far out picks, 2 far out second round picks, and a bunch of trash for Josh Jacobs, Jawan Jennings, Justin Fields, and Wilson. I'm going to say I want the picks, but I hate it. But give me the picks, I guess.
I'm gonna say Josh Jacobs. I don't want any part of Justin Fields here. I don't want Jennings, Wilson. Of course, I don't want the other trash either. Gosh.
Give me the valuable pieces, and that's not the pick side. So I'll take the Josh Jacobs side.
Those picks are going to be awesome.
There's going to be a day, if you're alive to see it, where those picks are worth something.
Yeah, if the league survives and
exactly,
and you survive, then there's a chance that this trade works out. I hate to say it that way, but you know, those 4 picks are extremely valuable. Like, there's no way around that. Like, don't hear what I'm not saying. But, and that's why I say in a vacuum, give me the picks. Because I think getting 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Justin Fields and Josh Jacobs is a great value in a vacuum. But when you put years to it, it just makes it really difficult. So, one, I would never do this trade ever. I understand both of you saying give me the players. I think most people agree with you. Cronster says players. Pete says players. You two are both saying the players. Jacobs and Fields.
There's going to be a day where you're pissed you gave up all those picks, possibly. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's my point.
Sure. You're not getting that much in return. Like, you're just really not.
And let's park here for a second.
Let's take if we take the years out of there, right? Mm-hmm. If I say I'm giving up 2 firsts and 2 seconds to get Jacobs, Jennings, and Justin Fields, someone will smack me across the face.
Yeah.
Right? Like, would just be completely ridiculous.
Apparently not Pete. He said Jacobs and Fields should be worth 2 firsts together in 2026. I think Jacobs is a fringe first. I think his true value might be a little bit below a first, but you're not going to be able to go
I traded him for a 105 in the spring.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my point, is I don't think anyone's going to move him unless they get a first. We'll see those values dip off once we get into the year, whether he's playing well, the age, all that. That's just how it goes when the season starts. I do take issue with the fact of what is Justin Fields worth. personally, I know I'm not very high on him. I don't believe Coach to be very high on him. Tyler, you might be higher than all of us, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'd move a first for Fields. Would either of you do that?
No,
No, absolutely not. No way. Zero chance of that.
not right now. I wouldn't move a first right now. Now, if he starts out the season, has a few good games, I might.
Now, listen, here we go. We're going to go down this road again. If Fields, and we've done this on multiple shows, if Fields stays the quarterback one in New York for a full season and is allowed to run around and do the things that he does really well, he's going to be very fantasy relevant. The bottom line is we've not seen him throw the football enough to be able to do that. So if he cannot throw the football enough to stay the starting quarterback in New York for an entire season and for 3 seasons, we're talking Dynasty, for at least a couple years, right? Then that's a problem. Like, that was the problem in Pittsburgh. That was the problem in Chicago. Like, he could not throw the ball enough for them to want him to be their starting quarterback. Ultimately, for those teams, they want to win football games. And if he can't win football games for you, then he's not going to be your quarterback. So, I mean,
he did win football games, though. He was 4-2 with the Steelers.
Did he win them? Like, I struggle.
He didn't lose it.
Like, the Steelers.
No, he can't throw. He can't throw.
Yes, he's not good, man. He's not. Like, I get the record side, but like, I don't know, man. Like, the Steelers are so overrated with their no losing seasons from Mike Tomlin. Like, it's impressive, but is it? Like, I don't know. It hasn't amounted to anything.
I mean, here's the thing. Pete brought up a good point. I think Juwan Jennings is worth more than what people think. I know you two, especially Coach. I think Matt's on the same train, but I know you guys are big Ricky Pearsall guys. We already saw last year when Brandon Ayuk went down who benefited. It was Juwan Jennings. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that Pearsall can't step in, but I've already seen
until the last 3 games, and Pearsall did play really well.
I mean, he did, and I'm not saying he didn't, but I'm also just saying, like, Juwan Jennings he's solid regardless. I would take Jacobs easily in the last deal, and I'll take a shot on Fields. You know, when was the last time that we saw him throw the ball well? When was that? He was at Ohio State, right?
Forever ago.
With
a loaded offense.
But guess who was also there? Guess who was also there? Garrett Wilson. I'm just saying.
Along with every other All-Pro wide receiver in the NFL was there also.
I understand, but I'm just saying.
Don't forget that.
I'm just saying there is a
Olave, JSN.
But we're all worried about Olave too, because now Olave, we don't know who the quarterback is. Well,
I think Olave's biggest concern is a lot of times it's health related. In my opinion, like, yeah, Fields last threw the ball at Ohio State, and he threw the ball well at Ohio State. Like, go back, watch that playoff run. He was great going down the stretch, but the NFL's just different. And like Coach said, he hasn't produced it to this point. I mean, if we want to talk about what he did he go 4-2? Yes, he did. He scored 18 points against the Falcons in week 1 last year. Does anybody remember how that game went? They kicked how many field goals? 6. 6 field goals.
Well,
they scored 13 points against the Broncos, 20 against the Chargers.
Told us enough. The Steelers told us, right, by throwing him to the side. Right? Mike Tomlin did not think he was any good, and he replaced him. Like, that's just the facts. Now,
or he just out of loyalty to his veterans. I mean, because you're not supposed to lose your job from an injury. You're not. Like, that's what we always say.
But he's 4-2. If your point is he's 4-2, wouldn't you ride the hot hand? We saw Romo take
a step back
and let Dak stay.
If he's that good. But he's not that good. But he's not Anthony Richardson. He does throw the ball a little better than that. So there is a world where if he plays decent enough and can use his feet enough, right, and New York can play defense really well, and he cannot turn the ball over, that he becomes somewhat fantasy relevant. Now, he's not going to lead them to the Super Bowl because he can't stand in the pocket and deliver the football. But at the same time, if he can do that and they can win 9 games, then he does become fantasy relevant. So, I mean, I can understand some of that.
I think your point, Coach, that you've said time and time again is wherever he is in just New York, because that's where he is right now, they have to commit to running him 18 times a game and say, we accept the consequences of whatever happens. If he gets hurt,
I've said this
he
a
gets
million
hurt.
times.
If he can run the ball and he can use his legs, he is the most effective. Like, don't hear what we're not saying. The guy is athletic and he is fantastic with his legs. And Coach, you've mentioned this several times to your credit, watching him with the Bears, being a Bears fan. He's a great leader and a great locker room guy. Like, we can't look past that. He could have caused a whole
100%.
scene last year in Pittsburgh, and he didn't.
He is fantastic, and his teammates love him. All those things are true. I'll tell you what I would love to see, actually, because I do like Justin Fields a lot personally. I really pull for the guy. I would love for him to lead the Jets to a better record than Aaron Rodgers could.
Oh, I think they will. Honestly, I do. I think he will. And I don't even think it's close.
I know
Just
that hurts
saying.
Pete. But Pete also
Pete,
said that
there's
you
a pizza bet for you, Pete.
Pizza
Also-
bet, Pete.
Also, let's just talk about who else is in the Jets quarterback room for a second. You have Justin Fields. I had to look this up. This is how bad this is. Tyrod Taylor, Adrian Martinez, and Brady Cook. That's your Jets quarterback room currently.
Who's
So
the
I
last
don't-
one?
Brady Cook.
Oh, you don't know Brady Cook?
So I don't even see a world where Justin Fields is not the starter, at least for the entire year,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
unless
if
he
you
gets
don't-
hurt.
I'm disappointed you actually don't know who Brady Cook is, Coach. I'm not going to lie. He force-fed
Well,
one
you know,
of your
if-
favorite players from last year. Or from this draft, this rookie draft. A current Bear, Luther Burden. He was the quarterback.
Oh,
for
yeah,
Luther
that's
Burden.
right. Guy he was. I Cook. Yeah, I didn't know his first name. Hey, so
He was terrible. He was terrible.
if I know that. If shoot, I'm blanking now. Oh, but if they use Fields the way they need to use Fields for him to be the most successful, you are going to run the risk that he gets hurt, and Tyrod Taylor will take half the snaps.
And then Tyrod will get hurt too. He does it every year.
He's just got bad luck.
Yeah,
He'll
Just
step into a
saying.
job, and then Brady Cook will suddenly arise and be the guy, and he'll take that job.
yeah.
Well, I think we are at our end. We've done all our trades. We've hit all the comments. Yeah, he was terrible, Pete. Well said. I think we've hit all the comments, guys. So we appreciate everyone who tuned in. We appreciate all the trade submissions we had. We are live every single Wednesday, so be sure to be back here with us on Wednesday. Continue to subscribe to First Read Fantasy.
Yeah.
We've got all sorts of
Smash
content,
that like.
all sorts of clips. Smash the like button, like Coach said. We cannot wait to continue to do this with you guys. If you want us to do more trade shows, please let us know in the comments below, and we will catch you next time, guys.